The next topic, guys, employee cost. At the heading, better. मटेरियल था काम का ही नहीं है ना तेरे को. We've learned how to allocate material cost better in the previous chapter. We will be learning how to compute our effective wage rate in this chapter, and how are we supposed to allocate that employee cost to the different products that are undertaken or the different jobs that are undertaken in the organization. Now, when you say employee cost, we are talking about the entire expenditure that the organization is incurring in respect of an employee, which effectively as Sadbeta is called as CTC, cost to company. The expenditure that an organization incurs need not be equal only to the amount of wages that they pay, guys. There can be a lot of allowances that can be given to the employees that also should be included in the computation of effective cost that an organization incurs. If you're paying them a salary of ₹1,00,000, you're giving them housing, accommodation, there's transport that is being given, there's food that is being provided to the employees, but there's some retirement benefits that are being given to the employees. All of that should be included in the computation of the overall employee cost. So, so employee cost, again, cost to company will include expenses which are directly payable in kind or in cash, does not matter. You will have to take all the expenses, whether you're directly paying it to the employee or whether you're paying it to someone else on behalf of the employee. Just retirement benefits, guys. Organization is not going to give those retirement benefits to the employees immediately. However, the money is going to be parked in a separate account. The employees will be receiving those benefits on a later date. A lot has changed over the last 2-3 weeks. Labor codes, I'm not sure if you follow news, but then there are 4 new labor laws that are implemented recently as such, but things have drastically changed as far as the computation of wages is concerned, but वो सब अपन को इसमें relevant नहीं है. We are talking about costing. Costing only deals with how are we supposed to allocate those wages to the different jobs, to the different products that are being manufactured. अब जैसे guys, let's say that there is provident fund. You know what is PF? Yeah, so if there is provident fund or if there is any amount of medical insurance, ESI जो हम लोग बोलते हैं, these are the amounts, guys. Employee state insurance is ESI. So these are the amounts that will not be given to the employees, that will be parked in a separate account on behalf of the employee. There will be a certain contribution that is made by the employee. There is a certain amount of contribution made by the employer. Both of them are going to contribute a certain amount. Employees contribution, guys, is not an income that is made by the employee. Okay, I'm not talking about the taxability part, but here, employee जो अपने जेब से पैसे पे कर रहा है, that is not his income. Whatever is the amount of contribution that is made by the employer would be an additional income, guys, for the employee. It's like this. In order to encourage savings among children, if your parents tell you that you save ₹1,000, they will contribute another ₹1,000 to your investment account. तुम कैसे भी करके सेव करके ₹1,000 डालो स्टॉक मार्केट में, म्यूचुअल फंड में, they will contribute another 1,000. The ₹1,000 that you have saved is not your income. It was anyways included in your income initially only. The additional ₹1,000 that you're now getting, guys, will be your income. So it's only employer's contribution. It is only employer's contribution better to provident fund or to any other retirement benefit, employee insurance, that should be considered, not the amount of employees contribution. So they structure the wage agreement, guys, in multiple ways. There's something called as basic wages. There will be something called as dearness allowance. Dearness allowance is basically a compensation for the increased cost of living. As the inflation increases, DA component will keep increasing. So that is dearness allowance. अभी जैसे नए एक्ट के हिसाब से बेसिक वेज इज सपोज टू बी एटलीस्ट 50% ऑफ द ओवरऑल वेज. इट कैन नॉट बी लेस देन 50% ऑफ द ओवरऑल वेज. व्हाट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस यूज्ड टू डू बेटर इज पर्पसली कीप बेसिक वेजेस लोअर, because a lot of statutory contributions were a percentage of basic wages. So if basic wage component is less, the amount of contribution that they have to make to all of these statutory funds would also be lower. So if they change that, they said nothing doing, it should be made at least 50%. पहले gratuity minimum 5 years था, अभी 1 year पे आ गया है. Even if they are continuously employed for a period of 1 year. Yeah, there are a lot of changes that happen, but this is for the betterment of employees. But a lot of labor unions are opposing it. They say that the amount of money that they will be taking home, which is take home pay, will reduce. किस बात का रोना है नहीं मालूम है. मतलब earlier they were complaining as such बेटा that contributions are not being made to funds. Now that contributions are being made, they're like नहीं जो हाथ में मिल रहा है वो कम हो गया है. We do not want this. So anyways guys, basic wages, dearness allowance, there will be other incentives, other bonuses better that they will give. अपने लिए questions में you will only see basic wages and dearness allowance. When you do taxes, you will see a detailed list of all the perquisites. So other incentives or bonus. Then guys, you're supposed to add employers' contribution to provident fund. You will not add employees. I repeat, employees' contribution is not the amount of income that they are making, or it can also be employers' contribution to ESI. All of this with a sum total will become cost to company, including an apportionment of gratuity also. जो benefit आता है. From this cost to company guys, they deduct the amount of income taxes that are payable. This will be deducted by the company in the form of TDS. It will be directly deposited with the government authorities. It will not be given to the employee. जो भी tax employee has to pay guys, वो tax company खुद compute करके it will be deposited. Then they will deduct guys the amount that needs to be contributed to PF. Because this money cannot be handed over to the employee, this money will be directly deposited in the PF fund. When they deduct this, they will deduct both employers and employees' share. The total money that needs to be deposited guys in PF account will be deducted. You cannot give the money to the employee, better say, and tu jaake contribute kar lena, because if you do that, none of them will save. The intent better is to force everyone to save money. That is why it is deducted upfront and directly deposited better in the PF account. Likewise better, they will also deduct whatever is the amount of contribution to be made to ESI, both employers as well as employees. After deducting all of these as such guys, what you get is the amount of money that an employee gets in hand, which is take home pay. CTC and take home pay better can significantly vary. The amount of gross salary that is being stated to you and the net amount that you receive in hand as such better can be totally different. Are we all clear about this? अपने लिए when you're arriving at the cost to the company better, you will only मतलब when you're arriving at the total amount of wages to be allocated, you will only be affected by the amount of cost to company. There will never be a question guys on computation of take home pay. Even if it is, you should know that that is not the amount of expenditure that is being incurred by the organization. The expenditure incurred by the organization will be equal to CTC. The earnings of the employee are also equal to CTC only. ये उसके हाथ में नहीं आ रहा है बेटा, मतलब the differential amounts, but these are the amounts that he was anyways obligated to pay. So there is going to be a difference between the amount of cost to the company and the amount of money better that the employees are taking home. Are we all clear about this? Yes or no? Classification of expenses, I said that there is something called as direct and indirect based on the relation to the cost object, not based on opportunity cost. Based on the relation to the cost object, we have divided our expenses into direct and indirect. What is direct? Anything can be direct, anything better that can be directly identified with the end product that is being manufactured will be called as direct expenditure. Anything that cannot be directly identified better will be indirect. Even under employee cost, you will have direct employee cost and indirect employee cost. Direct employee cost can be identified with the end product using something called as a job card or a timesheet. Organizations will maintain, जैसे वहाँ पे material requisition note था बेटा, यहाँ पे there's going to be timesheet. Organizations will maintain a record of what is an employee working on during the entire time period. Every employee is supposed to fill in this timesheet, or the supervisors as such better are going to fill in this sheet. Listen, as an article student, you will also be doing that as such better in your office whenever you undertake the articleship. At the end of every week, you will have to fill in data कि ये पूरे हफ्ते में कौन से client पे कितने घंटे काम किए हैं. It's easier for them to identify how much is the amount of expenditure that they're incurring in respect of each client. Yes or no? बेटा यहाँ पे आके बैठ जा तू. It will be easier for them as beta to identify what is the amount of expenditure that they are incurring. Are you all understanding this? So यहाँ पे बेटा they will maintain timesheet. Once they maintain that timesheet, you will know what is the amount of time that is being spent by each employee on different jobs. And using that timesheet, guys, you will be able to arrive at the allocation of wages. If an employee is working for 8 hours in a day, out of which beta 5 hours are in respect of, let's say, job 101, 2 hours are in respect of job 102, and 1 hour is in respect of job 103. Will you know how to allocate these expenses? जो भी तुम लोग खर्चा कर रहे हो बेटा in respect of an employee will be allocated to these 3 jobs in the ratio of the time spent. Indirect employee cost beta is not directly allocated, it is anyways included in overheads. Overheads कैसे allocate करेंगे next chapter. Did I tell you a sum total of all the indirect expenses is called as manufacturing factory overheads. Those factory overheads, how are they allocated, would be next chapter. As of now, direct employee cost only is being covered. Are we all clear about this? Yes or no, guys? The first part is computation of something called as effective wage rate per hour. This effective wage rate per hour, guys, is very simple. If an employee is in the organization for 9 hours in a day, not necessary that the employee will be working for 9 hours. There can be certain amount of normal idle time, there can be certain amount of abnormal idle time. Abnormal idle time क्या है बेटा? The minute he enters factory gate, he will not start working better. He is going to reach his assigned place. Can there be certain time lag here? Can there be certain breaks given to an employee? They can have lunch as such beta 1:30 to 2 o'clock. Hi Anna. So there can be certain lunch breaks, there can be other breaks that are given, there can be times wasted, guys, between shifting of one product line to an other product line. All of these come under normal idle time. It is normal for every organization to have these losses. Say one organization here in Hyderabad beta has made 9.5 hours as mandatory login time, so that even after they remove 1.5 hours of normal idle time, an employee will be effectively working for 8 hours in a day. The intent was to ensure that every employee works for about 8 hours. That is all better full-time jobs, CA firms, consultants, strategies. There's no in-time, out-time. अपने लिए in-time is fixed, sorry. Out-time is not fixed. It's very common, guys. अब season रहता, you will have to work till 12 in the night, 1 in the morning. क्या फर्क पड़ता? Client है, deadline है, काम करना पड़ता. We cannot keep crying, अयो घर पे काम है बोल के. वो लोग बोलते अयो कल से घर पे ही रहे. That is how it is, guys. So anyways, so there will be certain amount of normal idle time, there will be certain amount of abnormal idle time. I say every employee will be entitled to certain amount of leave during a year. Employees in an organization will be entitled to leave. Are we clear about this? This is apart from Sundays, that is not counted as leave. So they can be, just every organization has their own leave policy. 30 days of leave better, including sick leave. Normal hai. So if there are 365 days in a year, you remove those weekends and everything as such better. Let's say that an organization is not functioning on Saturdays also. They will effectively have about 252 working days in a year, roughly. उसमें से भी बेटा let's say that they are allowed to take 30 days of leave. And then बेटा, we love all the cultures when it comes to holidays. Yes or no? Whether or not, guys, it is related to our customs or not, sir, मेरा best friend, which is more than a brother to me, उसका festival है ये. That is why I have to celebrate it. If you remove all of those other holidays also as such, guys, let's say that the number of working days are only about 202 days. If I include a government organization, that will reduce further, guys. But let's say that they're effectively working for about 202 days in a year. So whatever salaries and the normal working hours, 8 hours le lete beta. So how many hours will they be working in a year? 1616. Effective wage rate per hour, guys, will be after deducting all of these normal losses. Whatever total expenditure that we are incurring in respect of an employee will be divided by the effective number of hours for which an employee is supposed to work in a year. That will become the rate of wage allocation. Not necessary guys that the wage rate that is being paid to the employee should match with effective wage rate per hour. It may be possible that a question mentions that an employee is being paid at the rate of 100 rupees per hour. That does not mean guys for the purpose of wage allocation effective wage rate per hour will be 100. It can be way more than 100 because of all the normal idle times. समझ में आ रहा है? जैसे पहले जब आर्टिकलशिप 3 साल का था बेटा, there used to be one firm. Industrial training is something wherein after 1 year of articleship you can work in a corporate. So पहले people used to do that after 2 years. अब उसमें last 4 months 5 months examination leave भी रहता था. Right now there is no concept of examination leave because there is a mandatory gap of 6 months after you finish your articleship. So this firm guys used to offer about 15 lakh rupees to 18 lakhs as salary to an industrial training. That's an article student working even before he becomes a chartered accountant or he or she becomes a CA. उसमें भी वो 4 महीने की leave देते थे. That means the kid is effectively working for this company guys only for 7 or 7.5 months in a year, for which this kid is getting paid 18 lakh rupees. Now if you compute their effective wage rate per hour as such guys, it will be more than what they are incurring in respect of a qualified chartered accountant. That is how it is. But है अभी भी है ये firm, अभी भी देता 18 lakh, but the problem is that they hire only about 6 people in a year. And it's not just the money that you should chase as such guys, it is also the role that you should be concerned about. We'll talk about all of this later, not relevant. Right now the goal is to clear CA inter. ठीक है? वरना थोड़े लोग रिवर्स डायरेक्शन में सोचते शुरू होते हैं, मेरे 10 बच्चे रहते, अच्छा फिर इससे शादी करूंगा मैं. समझ में आ रहा विकास? So anyways guys, are you all clear about the concept of effective wage rate per hour? So when we use the word effective wage rate per hour, we are basically talking about the wage rate that will be used for the purpose of allocation of wages. Wages will be allocated to different jobs on the basis of effective wage rate, not on the basis of what is being paid. Difference क्या रहेगा वापस? On account of normal idle time. This normal idle time will also include all the holidays, leave with pay that you talk about, that are being given to the employees. Organizations will compute this for in respect of every employee. In respect of every employee, matlab different categories of employees. If you talk about an article student guys, won't the amount of pay that is being given to article students be constant? Yes. So they do not have to do it in respect of each article student. They can compute a rough amount of such beta in respect of every article student like this. Overall, kitne employees hai, how much is the amount of money that will be paid. Jaise in big fours guys, you will end up working for 70-80 hours in a week also, or 90 hours sometimes. But as per the rules as such guys of ICA, you're supposed to work for 35 hours at least in a week. When they ask you to fill in that time sheet as such beta, they will ask you to fill only 35 hours. बाकी का 40, हम दोनों best friends है ना. You are not supposed to mention in the time sheet that you're working for those extra 40 hours anywhere. So anyways, are we all clear about the concept of effective wage rate per hour guys? Yes or no? If there's any abnormal idle time, will you remove that? Total number of hours for which an employee is in the organization is 2000 hours. उसमें से normal idle time is 300 hours, abnormal idle time is 100 hours. For computing effective wage rate, will you take 1700 hours, will you take 2000 hours, or will you take 1600 hours? You will take 1700 hours. The concept is exactly the same as normal loss and abnormal loss. If there's any amount of normal loss, what are you supposed to do? Adjust it to the cost of the remaining good units. यहाँ पे बेटा remaining good units मतलब remaining number of working hours. If there's any amount of abnormal loss, what will you do with it? Transfer the amount बेटा to profit and loss account. Are we all clear? इसके basis पे we are going to solve 2-3 questions and then we'll come to the other part. सबको effective wage rate का concept समझ में आ गया? Effective wage rate equals effective wage rate per hour equals total employee cost divided by normal working hours. Normal working hours. Total employee cost divided by normal working hours. Normal working hours. तुम्हारे total working hours में से बेटा what are we supposed to remove? We will remove, अरे रुको बे, total working hours मतलब बेटा total time that is spent in an organization. So or number of hours that a employee is supposed to work. So from this you will deduct leave with pay, you will deduct guys all other normal idle times. मैं आपको example already दे चुका हूँ. What are the other normal idle times? This difference beta will become your normal working hours. From this, if you deduct abnormal idle time, you're going to get actual working hours. Just like how it was important to exercise, we will solve questions better on that effective wage rate पर. एक 5 मिनट रुको, ऐसे directly questions ना को, थोड़ा तो भाषण cover कर देता हूँ starting में. Labor से बेटा, even if there is a theory question that is coming, I'll tell you, labor turnover बोल के एक important topic है last में. If at all theory comes, that is the first topic that they might ask in the examination. बाकी सबका chance बहुत कम है. Overtime premium, दो चीज़ें जो आ सकती है. बाकी कुछ भी उतना ज़्यादा relevant नहीं है. Theory pure point, but the explanations are still required better for solving questions. So, in case of a manufacturing concern, I said material is usually a significant component, guys, of the overall cost. Hi, Anna, guys. Depending on the industry, the material cost component beta can significantly vary, but usually it is way above 50%. Matlab, cost component, material cost component in the overall cost of the product will be much beyond 50%. Likewise, for service industries as such, guys, employee cost is a significant component. Even if it is not a service industry, guys, even if it's a manufacturing company, beta, service, matlab, employee cost can still be a significant component of the overall cost of the product. A lot of companies are setting up their assembly factories in India because employee cost is a little cheaper here in India as such, guys. That's the reason why they undertake the work here. अब जैसे US में accounting work, qualified people, the one who have an experience of about 25 years, their rates vary from $150 an hour to $200 an hour, effective cost computation. Initial phases of it's about $40, $50 per hour. Fresher. The work that was getting outsourced to India back then as such beta used to fetch about 22 to calculate कर रहा है ना कितना आ रहा है बल्कि rate. The work that used to get outsourced to India earlier beta used to be at a price of about $22, $23 an hour. Now because of immense competition, it has come down to $12, $13. थोड़े cases में $14. That means for every 1 hour of work as such beta that you're doing, sitting and doing here as such beta for those counterparts in US, we are getting billed. We are getting a revenue of about $14. That is still a significant amount because the average cost, I was just checking the financials of an entity, discussing it with one of the partners. So the average cost as such beta for them is about $6 to $7 employee cost. So even if they remove that employee cost of $6, $7, even if they remove all the administrative costs, they still end up with a margin of about $3 to $4. That's a good 30% margin on the revenues that they are getting. Just an example as to why a lot of work gets outsourced to India. Even at a level of $14 as such, guys, it is beneficial to those US entities to outsource the work to Indian entities rather than undertaking the work there itself. अभी और एक article अभी break में बेटा I wanted to study as to how the valuation of life insurance entities works because they do not go by the metric of EPS, they do not go by the metric of book value. So यहाँ पे बेटा one of the articles that I was reading said that in case the salary expenditure per employee of LIC increases by about 13 to 14%, their total salary bill is going to increase by 5,000 crore rupees. This is going to be the impact on the amount of wages that they're going to incur in a year. Now imagine the dent on profitability that it will have. Another example, abhi वापस last हफ्ते का, one of the CA firms as such guys was telling was we are trying to understand why article students are choosing one firm over the other firm as such, but they wanted to discuss. I said you're paying a stipend of 6,000 rupees, all the other firms are paying a stipend of 14,000, 12,000, 15,000. I said increase it. That partner came with a very logical explanation. He says we have an article base of 120. Increasing stipend from 6,000 rupees to 15,000 is an increase of 9,000 per month. 9,000 into 120 articles is about 10,80,000 per month. That multiplied by 12 months is about 1.3 crores roughly a year. He says you are asking me to increase my only article bill by 1.3 crores a year. I said that's not my problem. You asked me what is the reason. I'm telling you that the other firms are paying. You should have to consider the fact that everyone else is willing to take that cut in the amount of profitability. That is absolutely fine. If the market is like that, you will have to work on the basis of what the market is doing. Or if case an organization goes wrong with in their resource planning, especially in a service industry, things backfire heavily. Many entities do this better. In anticipation of heavy growth, they hire aggressively. But when business does not grow at the same rate, they also lay off aggressively. They start removing the employees as such better, but at a very high rate. Again, this is why it is very important that the entities exercise a proper control. There are few organizations who will not want to, hire aggressively. They're like, let the business come in. If I know that my employees can handle 100 hours of work, we will make them, suffer, work 150 hours, 180 hours. If the work stabilizes at this level, then they will hire new employees rather than hiring as such better aggressively. If you talk about Flipkart, if you talk about Amazon as such, guys, they have this big billion sale as such. They hire 20,000, 30,000 delivery partners as such, guys, only for that peak season. I'm talking about a very less number. The actual number is way too high. They cannot afford to have those numbers throughout the year. It is only a temporary surge. They receive huge number of orders in that festive season. To service them on time, they will have to increase the number of delivery partners. Can they do that throughout the year? No. If they have such high amount of employee base throughout the year as such, profitability will go for a toss. Again, a reason why entities should exercise proper control. The different departments involved here, guys. One is personal department, also known as HR department, जो सबके भाषा में कुछ नहीं करता है. Literally nothing, guys. Some of them, guys, work nicely. Some of them, but human resource department का काम क्या है बेटा? These people, guys, receive requisitions from different departments. If you talk about CA firms, the approval either comes at the state level only, or the approval comes from the national level. One big four is such better. Approval for article students also should come from the national level. Everyone gives their requisitions as to we need 10 articles this season, we need to have 15 more articles, we need to have 20 more articles. Jo bhi hai. If they receive approval for 10 article students, they will be able to hire only 10 articles if they receive approval for 15. There are few other organizations that take decisions at the ground level only. Matlab, it doesn't go to the national partner, or it doesn't go to the South India partner as such better. The partner here, sitting here in Hyderabad only, will decide kitne article lena hai, kya karna hai. Get done with it. Few of them go through the HR process. Few of them says if we go through the HR process, it is going to take a lot of time. We will directly ask people to submit resumes to us and get done with it. See, lesser the number of mediaries as such in between, faster will be the process. See, one big four takes only about 25 days. There's another big four that finalizes the candidates in 2 days. Kaam khatam, they say. The one that finalizes in 2 days, obviously beta gets the best crowd. Because others will not take that risk of hanging in there. We will wait for 25 days. What if they say no? Then we'll go somewhere else. So, HR वालों का काम एक ही है. Get that requisition, guys, from different departments. On the basis of those requisitions, they will roll out. They will either better send an internal email to all the employees that we are hiring. If anyone has referrals, send them internal reference. उनको भी पैसा मिलता. Everyone will keep forwarding resumes, or they will get in touch with these recruitment agencies who get paid 1 month of salary or 1.5 months of salary if an employee gets selected from them. Engineering and work study department क्या करेगा? Who's engineering department? Product design department. They are the ones as such, guys, who will be helping out the employees on the product specifications, give them training as to how are they supposed to manufacture the product. They are the ones who will undertake something called as time and motion study. This is important. What do you understand by time and motion study, Dharya? Ayush. What should be the time that should be taken to manufacture a product is time study. Motion study beta is what are the steps that are being performed by an employee in manufacturing the product. Motion study will help them, guys, in deciding what is value added, what is non-value added, so that they can remove all the non-value added parts and concentrate on the value added parts. If you recall, I told you an example of Toyota, guys, video recording all the steps that are being undertaken by the employees. Then there's a team sitting there which repeatedly goes through the video as such and sees what steps can be eliminated, how they can simplify the entire procedure. Timekeeping department, इनका काम क्या रहेगा? Timekeeping क्या है बेटा? Someone has to ensure what is the in time of an employee, what is the out time of an employee. Ultimately, as such guys, when the salaries are being paid out at the end of the month, it will all be on the basis of in time and out time. Most of these processes guys have been automated. Let's say one CA firm, again as such better mid-size firm, 15 minutes late आया तो half day stipend cut. If the in time is 10 o'clock as such better, student reports after 10:15 they cut stipend directly. कुछ नहीं होता है. But this is where out time is not fixed. हाँ वापस it is all better only वो. So timekeeping department guys will be maintaining records of the total time that is spent by an employee in the organization, and also a record of what were the different tasks that were undertaken by the employee. Are we clear about this? Payroll department, salary distribution on the basis of the salaries that were fixed, on the basis of in time and out time, on the basis of total number of leaves taken by the employee as such beta, this department will be paying out the amount of salaries. Many large organizations beta outsource this work. There are a few of CA firms as such that undertake this. ऐसे firms में बेटा आर्टिकलशिप करे ना गए अपन भी पूरे 2 साल अपन से पेरोल प्रोसेसिंग करते बढ़ जाते हैं. This 1 महीना you will find it interesting, you will learn new things. 2 महीने you will find it interesting. बेटा उसके बाद में क्या है वो मशीन के जैसे रोज जाओ फर्स्ट गियर में गाड़ी चलो सेकेंड गियर हो गया घर जाओ बोल के. कॉस्ट अकाउंटिंग डिपार्टमेंट, व्हाट विल दे डू? For the purpose of proper cost allocation for computation of cost of each product. Are we clear about this? Yes or no? Let's solve questions guys on effective wage rate per hour, then I'll come to the other theory part. ठीक है बेटा धैर्य चलेगा ना? उड़ गया तू अभी तो देख बेटा उड़ गया कहते क्या पीटने वाला हो देखो मैं. क्वेश्चन नंबर 19 गाइस, पेज नंबर 3.22. 19th question. क्या रे श्री वेंकट अभिषेक नहीं आ रहा? योर फ्रेंड नो वेंकट एंड अभिषेक. उमंग 19th question बेटा. X is an employee. ये लोग हमेशा बेटा मतलब तुम कुछ भी कर लो. हाँ. X is an employee of ABC company. He gets the following emoluments and benefits. Basic pay is 10,000 per month. DA is 2,000 per month. Bonus is 20% of salary and DA. He says I'm attending online. Huh. So other allowances are 2,500 per month. Employer's contribution to PF is 10% of salary and DA. X works for 2,400 hours per year, out of which 400 hours are non-productive and treated as normal idle time. You are required to compute the effective hourly cost of employee X. One line answer guys, which you will present in 5-6 lines. करो कुछ नहीं अरे मैं करता हूँ बेटा. Compute the total amount of expenditure that you're going to incur in a month guys. Can you tell me how much is the basic pay? So basic wages beta is 10,000 per month. So that will be 10,000 multiplied by 12 months. 1,20,000. How much is the amount of dearness allowance? 2,000 per month multiplied by 12 months. That will be 24,000. Next beta और क्या है? %20 of salary plus DA मतलब basic plus DA. 1,44,000 का 20% बेटा 28,800. Next, other allowances 2,500 per month into 12 months 30,000. बस हो गया ना? Employer's contribution to PF as a percentage of salary and DA. 10% of basic plus DA guys. How much will that be? 14,400. add all of them beta, this will become the total employee cost. 217 200. Remember this 217 200 should be divided by 2000 normal productive hours. Total working hours कितने हैं? Total working hours guys are 2400, जिसमें से normal idle time is 400 hours. You remove this normal idle time of 400, the leftover hours are 2000. You're going to allocate cost on the basis of 2000. So what will be the effective wage rate per hour? 108.6. So if this worker beta has worked 10 hours on product A, what will be the cost allocation to product A? 108.6 multiplied by 10 hours. Question number 21. काय को रोते रहते रे? Figure out कर. Guys, when they do not mention anything and they simply say that contribution to provident fund is 10%, ESI is 1.75% or whatever, it will be as a percentage of both basic and DA. If nothing is specified guys, it should be as a percentage of basic plus DA. Even if they use the word wages guys, the word wages will obviously include all the amounts that you're paying. So include both basic and DA. So it will basically be on that 12,000 multiplied by 12 months, 1,44,000. Basic pay beta would be 10,000 per month multiplied by 12 months, 1,20,000. Dionys allowance beta is going to be 2,000 per month multiplied by 12 months. That will be 24,000. Employer's contribution to PF. Contribution to PF beta will be 1,44,000 multiplied by 10%, 14,400. Employees contribution to PF, sorry, employers contribution beta to ESI. Employers contribution to ESI beta, it will be 4.75% of 1,44,000. कितना है? 6,000, 8,040 नहीं, 840. Next beta, bonus. It will be 12,000 guys multiplied by 2 months, 24,000. What's the total amount payable? 1,89,240. Total working hours in a year, 300 days into 8 hours, 2,400. Minus beta leave with pay. Leave with pay guys will always be normal idle time. (15 days into 8 hours), 120, 2,280 hours. How much will be the effective wage rate per hour? It will be 1,89,240 divided by 2,280. That is 83 rupees. Wage systems. wage systems, guys. If you're all done with the previous question, write the next highlighting, wage systems. Now, employees of an organization, guys, can either be paid on the basis of number of hours that they work for, or they can be paid on the basis of the number of units that they manufacture. Though payment on the basis of output is not very common because it results in a severe impact as such on the quality of the product. You start paying employees on the basis of number of units that they manufacture, guys. In order to increase the output, they will start manufacturing things faster, and that can increase the effective output of the organization. So many organizations that emphasize on quality of the product will never track the time that is spent by the employee better on manufacturing each product. They think tracking that will result in an adverse impact on quality, and that is a superior objective. The objective is not to ensure that the work gets completed as such, but as soon as possible. Obviously, they'll work on that aspect as well, but the primary goal will always be quality. So organizations can either pay on the basis of number of hours, or they can pay on the basis of number of units that they're manufactured. Majority of the organizations will be on the basis of number of hours of work only. When I say number of hours of work as such, guys, usually the salaries are all fixed. It is not that better salaries keep fluctuating. However, if an employee does not work for the required number of hours, there will be deduction. Just say, instead of working for 176 hours in a month, if an employee works for only 160 hours, obviously the employee will not be paid salary beta for the entire month. Will they deduct proportionate salary? Yes. अभी जैसे सुबह अभी थोड़ी देर पहले बोल रहा था 15 minutes late, half day cut. समझ में आ रहा है? वैसे ही guys, in these organization, if an employee leaves early as such, they will obviously deduct the amount of wages. जितना permitted leave में बेटा चलेगा, उसके beyond अगर कोई leave ले रहा है, it is obviously going to get deducted. So indirectly बेटा it becomes payment on the basis of time. If these employees work for more than the required number of hours, it is mandatory that they have to pay overtime. Abhi jaise as per the new labor laws, if they work for more than 48 hours in a week, it is mandatory that they get paid overtime at double the rate. If the basic wage rate is such is 100 rupees per hour, overtime ke liye they have to be paid for. The objective is to ensure better that the workers are not forced to work for additional number of hours. Plus, it will not be beneficial for the organizations to ask the existing employees to work overtime. Instead, they will prefer hiring more employees. That will be more beneficial rather than paying overtime to the existing employees. So, wage system can either be on the basis of number of hours of work. Wage system can be on the basis of number of units manufactured. If it is paid on the basis of number of hours of work, we write wages beta will be equal to the time that is taken, the number of hours worked into rate per hour. The total amount of wages, ignoring all incentives and everything is not better. The total amount of wages that will be payable on the basis of number of hours of work would be time taken into rate per hour. Doesn't matter what is the output manufactured. If it is based on the basis of number of units, so it will be number of units manufactured into rate per unit. This will be the amount of wages that will be payable. So now, if rate per unit is not given, it should be computed on the basis of standard time. What is the time allowed per unit multiplied by rate per hour? Let's say guys that the rate per hour is 100 rupees and standard time to manufacture a unit is 0.5 hours. Standard time allowed beta is the time that you should be taking to manufacture a product. The actual time can differ. Time allowed is standard time. If time allowed is 0.5 hours and the wage rate is 100 rupees per hour, what do you think should be the wages for every unit manufactured? For 1 hour, if it is 100 rupees, for 0.5 hours, it will be. This is how you will compute rate per unit if it is not given. It should always and always be on the basis of standard time and rate per hour. What if standard time beta is 4 hours and rate per hour is 100 rupees? Then what should be the rate per piece? If for each unit you're supposed to take 4 hours and the rate per hour beta normally given in the organization is 100, what should be the piece rate here? 4 multiplied by 100, 400, not 25 rupees beta. 100 rupees per hour, 4 hours ke liye it should be 400. Are you all getting the point, guys? Yashwant, clear? You tell me, Yashwant. What if the time allowed per unit is 10 minutes and the wage rate, standard wage rate, let him answer, guys. Standard wage rate is 300 rupees per hour. For each unit, you should take 10 minutes as per the standards and the wage rate per hour is 300. What should be the rate per unit? Huh? 50 rupees. How 50 rupees? 300 beta is for 60 minutes. How much will be the proportionate amount for 10 minutes? The amount beta will become 50 rupees. This will become your rate per unit. Are we clear? Yes or no, guys? Now, in case an organization follows times rate, there are 2 incentive systems covered in our syllabus. Practically, no one follows these incentive systems, guys, but because to teach you some incentive system, they've included. Pehle bahut zyada the. They have now cut it down to only 2 systems. We do not have more than 2 systems covered. This is based on time wages. Harchita's friend, beta, what's your name? Varsha. Tu answer karegi beta bhai. So you will have to take wages on the basis of time plus some incentive, guys. It will be time taken into rate per hour plus certain amount of incentive. This incentive, guys, will be as a percentage of how much time did you save by working faster. So what is the amount of savings for the organization? Some percentage of this. I'm not telling you that they will give you the entire saving. Let's say normally an employee should have taken 12 hours to manufacture some product. But you are super efficient, guys. You finish the task in only 7 hours. How much time are we saving for the organization? If each hour is paid at a rate of 200 rupees, how much are you saving for the organization? So there will be some percentage of this 1000 rupees that will be given to the employee as an incentive. Ab ye equation samajh mein aaya? This is without any incentive, you will be given wages for 7 hours. 7 hours multiplied by 200. अब ये मत बोलना बेवकूफ है 12 घंटे काम करता तो he would have get paid for 2. After 7 hours is not sitting idle beta. He's not like us. He'll start working on another job. He will get paid at the rate of 200 rupees for those hours also. ऐसा सोचो बेटा. What will you prefer? 1 hour work करके someone's getting paid, guys, 200 rupees for effectively working for 1 hour. Someone's getting paid, guys, 300 rupees for working for 10 hours. Now, as per you, this is better because you're getting 300 rupees. Now, imagine if this person works for 10 hours. What will be his earning? 2000. When the total number of hours for which employees work are different, do not ever compare their earnings. There was this question in ratios, guys, foundation math. Earnings per hour should be compared to arrive at a ratio. जान दो क्यों relate करना अपन थोड़ी सीखना बेटा ये. So 5 hours multiplied by 200. How much are we saving for the organization? Some percentage of this 1000 rupees will be given to the employee beta as incentive. Now the 2 schemes that we have. One is Rowan scheme. The other one beta is Halsey scheme. काम धंधा नहीं था इन लोगों को हमारे को. Both of them, guys, the amount of fixed wages will remain same. There will be some proportion of wages, as I told you beta, on the basis of how much time that you are saving for the organization. Row 1 says that the proportion will be time taken to time allowed. 7 by 12. You've taken 7 hours, you were supposed to take. So the proportion of wages beta will be 7 by 12. Hal says 50% flat. No other ratio. You save 1 hour, we will give you 50% of 1 hour. You save 2 hours, we'll give you 50% of 2 hours. एक आधे question में they will tell you 40% bonus sharing plan. If they use the word 40%, instead of writing 1 by 2 beta, what will you write? When the question is very clear, follow that. When the question is not clear, they do not specify anything, then you will have to take 1/2. 1/2 matlab 50% under Halsey scheme. This is the amount of incentive that will be given to the employee. Are we understanding this? सबको समझ में आया? Yes or no, guys? Now, let's say beta that the time that is allowed is 8 hours. इसको बोलते हैं standard time, or you can also call the word. ये chapter में beta they do not use the word standard time. Subsequent all chapters they will use the word standard time. For the time being they will use the word time allowed. Time allowed is the time that you should have taken. Just say if I tell you solve one question, guys, and I tell you standard time is 10 minutes. That 10 minutes will become standard time. Few students might take much lesser than 10 minutes. Few students, guys, might take more than 10 minutes. Few students might just wait. Why should we? He will solve, we will copy. So it depends beta. Perspective, sabka alag alag. So here 8 hours beta is the standard time. If time taken is only 1 hour, how much time are we saving for the organization? This is S minus T beta, time saved. We are saving 7 hours. Let's say, guys, that the wage rate per hour is 100 rupees. If the wage rate per hour is 100 rupees, how much should be the amount that the worker should get if Halsey scheme is followed? You will give them wages for that 1 hour of work anyways? Yes or no? Plus you will give them what? 50% of 7 hours ka 100 rupees. So the total amount that you're going to give him beta is? Are you all following? Yes or no, kids? 1 hour into 100 rupees is fixed. Without any incentive, you will anyways get that 100 rupees. With incentive, you're getting that extra 350 rupees incentive. The total wages beta will become 450. What if it is row 1 scheme beta? Manoj, tu bol. The proportion, guys, will be 1 by 8. Time taken to time allowed, not time taken to time saved. The ratio as such beta is how much time are you actually taking to how much time was allowed. That means you will now get bonus of only 1/8 of that 7 hours. 180. The row 1 scheme is designed in such a way, guys, that in case an employee takes abnormally lower amount of time, the amount of incentive reduces. They do not want employees to take abnormally lesser amount of time. Let them take lesser time, but if it is abnormally lower time, it can also have an impact on the quality of the product. That is why the proportion of incentive as such beta that they get will be usually lower under row 1 scheme. Are you getting the point? What if they take 2 hours beta? How much time are they saving? 6 hours. How much will be the wages, guys, under Halsey scheme? Time pass में नहीं करा रहा बेटा. If the question comes in exam, first preference will be Halsey and row 1 only. 5 marks, free marks आते exam में. 2 hours into 100 plus 50% of how much time saved? 6 hours into 100. The amount beta would be row 1 scheme without yawning beta 50. भागेश, you tell me बेटा, row 1 scheme में कितना वेज आएगा उसको? एक सेकंड सुना बे, बोल रहे हैं ना लोग? कोई बोला ना अभी, मारूंगा बेटा पकड़ के. अरे सनराइजर्स कितना बेटा? 350. How are you getting 350? 2 into 100, 2 by 8, Very good beta. How much is this? आज रोऊंगा बेटा मैं घर जाके पक्का. My purpose of life overdies. 3 hours guys into 100. This will be how much? मैं टाइम पास में नहीं करा रहा हूँ बेटा. ये अभी कितना हो जाएगा? ये हाफ कितना होगा? 504 4 5 3 6 अब अभी आंसर्स बोलते जाओगे. 8 अंडर हालसे स्कीम गाइस योर वेजेस 50% है बेटा. लीनियर इक्वेशन रहता वहां पे बोलो गाइस. अभी 480 600 so ये 712 चेक करते जाओ आंसर्स. 712 600 350 250 so this will be 850. हाँ चेक करो ना कान के नीचे बजाऊंगा बेटा. 850 है वो. 787 आ रहा है. ये 712.5 भी रॉन्ग है. तो 687.5 नेक्स्ट 7 अरे घरे 750 नेक्स्ट 787.5. ये 600 सेम ही है ना. करेक्ट है ना. ऑल राइट गाइस. So both of them guys will give a certain amount of incentive on the basis of time saved. You all understood better how to calculate the amount of wages. Halsey and Rowan will result in exactly the same amount of wages if time taken is half of time allowed. If an employee is finishing a task guys in half of what is allowed, then the percentage of bonus under both the schemes will become 50%. Under Halsey, the percentage of bonus is always 50%. Under Rowan, guys, T by S will become 50% if an employee is taking half time, half of what has been allowed. If an employee takes less than half of what is allowed, Halsey will result in a higher amount of wage. The first three levels, better. Halsey is resulting in a higher amount of wage. If an employee takes more than half of time allowed guys, Rowan scheme will result in a higher amount of wage. Are you getting the point? They've asked this in the examination as a theory question once. So when will both these systems result in the same amount of wages? Time taken should exactly be, in my example time allowed is 8 hours, time taken is 4 hours. If that is the case, better, even under Rowan scheme, the amount of incentive will be 4 by 8, that is half. Under Halsey, it is always half. Anything less than 50% of time allowed, Halsey will result in a higher amount of wages. Anything more than 50% of time allowed, Rowan will result in a higher amount of wage. If all of these beta were 8 different employees, which among of these employees beta is making the highest amount of wage? Huh? Very good. You should not compare their total wages. What you should compare beta is effective earnings per hour. You will divide their wages by the number of hours that they're working for. Last wala banda is getting paid 800, but that is for how many hours of work? The effective wage rate or earnings per hour would be 800 divided by 800 rupees only. Whereas the first worker beta is getting 450 divided by 1, 450 rupees per hour. Are you all following this? So whenever you're comparing wages of Sat beta, always compare effective wage rate. Any doubt in this part? Understood? Sure guys? If the question says, in a day of 8 hours, suno, बाद में लिखना, a worker manufactured 100 units. Time allowed is 10 units per hour. When they specify a day of 8 hours, it means every worker will work for 8 hours. That becomes time taken, not time allowed. Time allowed is always to be computed on the basis of the output that the worker is manufacturing. In a day of 9 hours, every student, are they sitting in the class for 9 hours? So time taken beta for every student will still be time allowed, or standard time will depend on their output, will depend on the number of questions that they have solved. That will not be the same for every worker. So if they have manufactured 100 units and the time allowed is 10 units per hour, what should have been the time that you should have taken to manufacture 100 units? So time allowed, guys, for 100 units should be 10 hours. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? Time taken would be, what if I tell you there's another worker who has manufactured 60 units? For him also time taken will be 8 hours only, but time allowed would be 6 hours. Statement समझ में आ रहा है? The only important thing beta is you figuring out what is time allowed and time taken. वो formula, उसके बाद में just application of the formula, getting the answer, guys. It will barely take a minute to get that. ये समझ में आया नहीं आया? So again, if I tell you in a day of 8 hours, worker manufactured 60 units. क्या लिखोगे बेटा यहाँ पे? Now what will be the time taken? Over. Time taken will be 8 hours. Time allowed for 60 units would be 6 hours. In 8 hours of work, the worker has manufactured an output worth 6 hours. He will not get any bonus. Negative bonus nahi rehta. If the worker is taking more time than what is supposed to be taken, he will be given wages beta for those 8 hours of work. There will not be any concept of negative bonus. Are we clear about this? If I tell you guys, in a week of 48 hours, a worker manufactured 600 units. What will this 48 hours be? Very good. It will be time taken. Every worker is supposed to work for 48 hours unless otherwise given. They might tell you that a particular worker worked for 2 extra hours as such, but if that is given, then the time taken will become 50 hours. Otherwise, if the week is of 48 hours, every worker would be working for 48 hours only. Time allowed, but if I go by the same details that I gave you earlier, कितना हो जाएगा? 600 units, 10 units per hour. So it will be 60 hours. By working for 48 hours, the worker has manufactured an output which is worth 60 hours. Are we all clear about this? Yes or no? Question number 3. A skilled worker is paid a guaranteed wage rate of 150 rupees per hour. The standard time allowed for the job is 10 hours. He took 8 hours to complete the job. We have all the given details beta. The wage rate per hour is 150 rupees. Time is 10 hours. Time taken beta is 8 hours. Time allowed is 10 hours. He has been paid wages under the Rowan incentive plan. You are required to calculate the effective hourly rate of earnings under Rowan scheme. Direct formula, guys. First compute total wages. Once you get total wages, Karman, you will have to divide that by actual time taken to arrive at the effective wage rate per hour. हो गया तेरा थर्ड क्वेश्चन? हाथों की लकीरें देख रहा था? हाँ, पंडित जी बोले क्या नहीं है वो रिश्ता? हाँ, पढ़ा रहा हूँ बेवकूफ, ये हाथों की लकीरें देख रहा, क्या ऐसा गलती है कि वो नहीं है बोल के, या वो नहीं है, जो भी. Start, guys. Arrive at the total wages but under Rowan scheme. What is the actual time taken? 8 hours. Standard time. There you. वहाँ से शेयर कर. Rate per hour beta is how much? 150 rupees. You arrive at total wages beta under Rowan scheme. सबको फॉर्मूला याद है रोवन स्कीम का? T into R plus T by S into time saved into rate per hour. कितना बेटा टाइम टेकन 8 multiplied by 150 plus 8 by 10 into 10 minus 8 multiplied by 150, 1200 plus 240 beta 1440. Can you tell me the effective wage rate per hour? To get effective wage rate per hour, guys, you will have to divide 1440 beta by the total number of hours actually worked. What are the number of hours actually worked for? 8 hours. So 1440 divided by 8. How much is the effective wage rate per hour? 180. 180 rupees beta is the effective wage rate per hour. Next wala karo, second bit. He says, guys, that the effective rate should remain same. Time taken will now change. Jara ruk. Time taken is missing. Basic wage rate per hour will still be 150. Standard time will still be 10 hours. But the effective wage rate should still be the same that we got earlier, guys. And the effective wage rate per hour is 180 rupees. Just like how you did in the homework question, guys, you will have to take T as a missing figure and then compute T using effective wage rate of 180 rupees. If you're already done with it, beta, good for you. Total wages, beta, should be 180 into T. Use the formula of Halsey scheme, guys, and get the amount. $150 guys plus half of 10 minus T into 150. This is what you're going to do, guys, to get the answer. To the other side, you will get 30T is equal to this half of 150 beta would be 75. So you will write 75 times of 10 minus T. You can either multiply there only, guys, or you can also strike on both sides. 30T is equal to 750 minus 75T. You will get 105T is equal to 750. T will be equal to 7.1429 hours. A skilled worker in PK Limited is paid a guaranteed wage rate of 15 rupees per hour in a 48-hour week. What did I tell you beta the other day? When they give a week of 48 hours or a day of 8 hours, actual time taken by every worker should be equal to 48 hours unless otherwise given. I gave this statement the other day in the class, beta. Yaad hai nahi hai? So when they say that it's a 48-hour week, it would mean that the time taken, working hours beta, will be equal to 48. The standard time to produce a unit, guys, is 18 minutes. During a week, a skilled worker, Mr. A, has produced 200 units of the product. 200 units अगर produce कर रहे हो, and for every unit you were supposed to take 18 minutes, what should have been the total time taken? Calculator पे बेटा you should write 200. जरा एक सेकेंड पढ़ने दो लोगों को question. For every unit it is 18 minutes. So for 200 units, what should be the total time taken? 200 multiplied by 18, 3600 minutes. That is 60 hours. So we know standard time is 60 hours. Actual time taken is 48 hours and rate per hour is 15 rupees. The company has taken a drive for cost reduction and wants to reduce its labor cost. You are required to calculate wages of A under each of the following methods. Time rate. Time rate matlab there will be no incentive given. You will directly write number of hours worked into rate per hour. That is time wages or day wages. So here the answer beta will directly be 48 hours multiplied by 15 rupees. 7 जो भी है समझ में आ रहा है. Now second one says piece वो rate है बेटा, rate नहीं, piece rate with a guaranteed weekly wage. When they say with a guaranteed weekly wage, what does that mean? If the amount of wages is less than the amount of wages as per time system, you will give them time rate wages. अगर पीस रेट के हिसाब से you are getting less than, ये कितना था? The guaranteed amount will be 720. That is guaranteed weekly wages. Guaranteed weekly wage would be on the basis of time. A worker is working for 48 hours, you're supposed to pay him for 48 hours. But यहाँ पे guys, I told you the other day, whenever rate per piece is not given, जरा एक सेकंड बेटा, let them process the information. एक काम करेंगे बेटा, तुम लोग घर जाओ, मैं कल डिस्कस करता हूँ डायरेक्टली, पूरे चैप्टर करके आओ. Will that be great? Whenever rate per piece guys is not given, how are we supposed to identify the rate per unit? Shivika, you were present yesterday. You forgot or you were? It should always be computed guys on the basis of standard time allowed and rate per hour. Per hour the company is paying 15 rupees. That means 15 rupees is the wage for 60 minutes. Each unit is supposed to take how much? You will have to compute the wage of 18 minutes proportionately. So if rate per piece is not given, it will always be computed on the basis of standard time and rate per hour. So here it will be 4.5 rupees. This 4.5 rupees you will multiply by 200 units that they have manufactured. The total wages as per piece rate system is going to be 900. Are you getting it? Under Halsey and Rowan plan, beta, the same formula that we have used, you know what is the standard time, you know what is the actual time. When they ask for your suggestion guys, which bonus plan, remember the objective is to reduce cost. You will have to select the plan that results in a lower amount of wages. That is how you're going to decide. Are we clear? Let's write the given details guys. Rate per hour is 15 rupees. 48-hour week, which implies time taken will be 48 hours. Standard time per unit is 18 minutes. Actual output is 200 units. So time allowed will become 200 multiplied by 18, 3600 minutes, which will be 60 hours. For each unit you should have taken 18 minutes. The company has, you have manufactured 200 units, so the total time taken beta would be 60 hours. Rate per unit not given. Compute using rate per hour and time allowed. Rate per unit was not given, but you're supposed to compute it using rate per hour and time allowed. So your rate per unit, guys, will be equal to rate per hour multiplied by time allowed per unit. 15 rupees per hour into, you should write time allowed in terms of hours, that will be 0.3 hours. 4.5 rupees per unit. Rate per unit will be 4.5. Just for your understanding, guys, when rate per unit is based on standard time, 100% of time saved is being given as bonus to the employee, because you will indirectly end up paying the employee for 60 hours now. If you multiply 60 hours into 15 rupees per hour, you will get 900. So when wage piece rate is computed on the basis of standard time, you are indirectly giving the employee 100% of time saved as bonus. It will always result in a higher wage rate than Halsey or Rowan scheme. कभी पूछा नहीं वो एग्जाम में, it's only for our understanding. Now let's write those answers. Beta, first bit, time rate. So here, guys, it will be equal to time taken into rate per hour. Time taken is 48 hours multiplied by rate per hour is 15. So that will become 720. Second one, beta, is piece rate earnings. It will be number of units multiplied by rate per unit. Number of units, guys, are 200 multiplied by 4.5. यहाँ पे बेटा not relevant, but the question says piece rate beta is subject to guaranteed wages. मतलब क्या? Guaranteed wages. It means if piece rate earnings are less than wages based on time, then the actual wages beta should be equal to time wages. तुम उनको bare minimum उतना दोगे. Write this. We are going to see this in some other question later. The piece rate earnings are going to be less than time wages. हर एक question में नहीं आता ये. Only they have to mention that it is subject to guaranteed wages. Only then this rule will apply. If they simply say piece rate earnings, you will have to write number of pieces multiplied by rate per piece. Only if they mention it is subject to guaranteed wages, you're going to write this. Next, beta, how much is the total wages under Halsey scheme? It will be time taken into rate per hour plus half of time saved into rate per hour. So time taken is 48 plus into 15 base, half of time saved, 60 minus 48 multiplied by 15. So you give them 54 hours multiplied by 15, guys, that will be 810 rupees. And then finally under Rowan scheme, time taken into rate per hour plus T by S of time saved into rate per hour. That will be 48 into 15 plus 48 divided by 60. 80% of those 12 hours into rate per hour. 80% of 12, 9.6. 9.6 into 50, guys, will be 144. 144 plus 720, 864. The total earnings under Rowan scheme, guys, will be 864. Total earnings under Halsey scheme, 810. What will be the suggestion in the last bit? Companies should follow Halsey scheme as it is resulting in a lower wage. Companies should follow Halsey scheme as it is resulting in a lower wage. Two workers A and B produce the same product using the same material. Their normal wage rate is also the same. A is paid bonus according to Rowan scheme, while B is paid bonus according to Halsey scheme. The time allowed to make the product is 50 hours. A takes 30 hours, B takes 40 hours. Factory overhead rate is 5 rupees per hour worked. Factory cost of the product manufactured by A is 3490, while that manufactured by B is 3600. As far as manufacturing expenditure is concerned, manufacturing cost or factory cost, it comprises of two parts, guys. Prime cost, which will be direct materials. Even if you do not know the word direct prime cost, that is fine. You will have direct material, direct wages, and direct expenses. And then beta, there will be factory overheads, manufacturing overheads. This will include indirect material, wages, and expenses. We do not know what is the amount of material cost that should be incurred for the product, but that should not depend on the worker who's manufacturing the product. Whether the product is being manufactured by worker A or worker B, will the amount of raw material remain same? Unless whether the worker is so talented that they result in wastage of material. Varna guys, material component should remain same. Are we clear guys? So this is not known, but we do know that it should be same for both the employees. Direct wages, we do not know what is the basic wage rate per hour, but we do know that the employees are paid. One employee is given wages under Rowan scheme, one employee is being paid wages under Halsey scheme. Using that, we will be able to arrive at the total amount of wages. Again, in terms of some rate per hour, which we do not know. Direct expenses not given, assumed to be 0. You cannot assume anything for direct. In a majority of the questions, manufacturing cost mein, direct expenses will not be given. They're always considered to be 0. Only in cost sheet questions you will see direct expenses. Baki pure chapters mein you will only see direct material, direct wages, and directly factory overheads. Factory overheads beta is always apportioned. The fact that they are indirect expenses means there is no relation between the expenditure and the end product. Direct relation between the expenditure and the end product. Question says that we will allocate this at the rate of 5 rupees per hour. If you spend 10 hours on a product, the share of factory overheads should be 5 multiplied by 10, 50 rupees. If you spend 20 hours on the product, it should be 5 multiplied by 20. Here, one person is spending 30 hours, the other person is spending. For the first worker, the share of factory overheads would be 30 multiplied by 5, 150 rupees. For the second worker, share of factory overheads would be 200. समझ में आ रहा है क्या बोल रहा हूँ? Are you all understanding this? Same question बेटा, next last time में आया था 8th one. So ये समझ में आया सबको? So there are two workers guys. These are not two different products. These are two workers manufacturing the same product. पढ़ाई पे ध्यान दो. We do not know what is the amount of direct material cost. I'm assuming this to be X. If it is X for A, it is X for B also. X rupees. तुम्हारी बेशर्म ऐसे नमूने लोग हो तुम लोग. Direct wages guys. Standard time allowed is 50 hours. Rate per hour is not given. Time taken by worker A is how much? 30 hours. Time taken by worker B is? Worker A is under which scheme? Rowan scheme. Worker B is under Halsey scheme. रुलाऊंगा बेटा अभी. Worker A is under Rowan, worker B beta is under Halsey scheme. Are we all clear about this? How do you compute wages beta under Rowan scheme? What is the formula for that? लास्ट में आर बोल के छोड़ने से होता नहीं, पूरा बोलना पड़ता. सो दैट बेटा वुड बी 40, नहीं जरा रुकते, लिख रहा हूँ. 30 multiplied by r plus 30 divided by 50 into 50 minus 20 multiplied by r. चेक कर रहा है बेटा, सुन रहे ना सुन रहे बोल के. 60% of 20, 12. This will become 42r. This will be the total wages in respect of worker A. For worker B, it will be t into r plus half of time saved into rate per hour. This will be 30r guys plus half of. Very good beta, proud of you listening. 45r. This will be the total amount of wages. I already told you direct expenses will be 0. अब बचा क्या बेटा? Factory overheads. Factory overheads guys is 5 rupees per hour. Yes or no? For the first job, how many hours did we spend? The share of overheads would be 150. Here we have spent 40 hours. The share of overheads would be the total factory cost in terms of this x and r will be x plus 42r plus 150. This would be x plus 45r plus 200. Question says that this is 3,490. This is 3,000. हो गया बेटा. You solve them and you get the answer of x and r. Are we clear? मतलब सॉल्व मतलब लिटरली ऐसा कोई कॉम्प्लिकेटेड मैथमेटिकल प्रोसीजर नहीं है बेटा. ये थोड़े नॉन मैथ स्टूडेंट्स सोचते हैं अब ये वापस मैथ क्यों ला रहा बीच में बार बार बोल के. You will get x plus 42r guys is equal to 3340. Here x plus 45r will be equal to 3000. If you do not want to solve the matter, just write x is equal to 3340 minus 42r, and here beta x will be equal to 3400 minus 45r. दोनों x को equate करो बेटा. You will get the value of r. 60 is equal to 3r. So r will be equal to 20 rupees. That 20 rupees, if you substitute in any of those equations, you will get the value of x. So you will know what is the normal rate of wages. You will know what is the material cost. Did we get both the values? So what is the basic wage rate? 20 rupees. What is the material cost? 2,500. Third bit says prepare a statement comparing the factory cost of the product as made by the two workers. Same statement, x को replace करो, r को replace करो, answer लिखो. That will be a statement guys. और क्या है? Are we getting it guys? समझ में आया नहीं आया? Material cost will be 2,500 guys. Wages for the first person it is 42r, so that will be 42 times of 20 rupees, 840. For the second person it is 45r, which is 45 times of 20, 900. The amount of factory overheads you've already written with it is 150 and 200. The sum total guys of the factory cost would be 3,490 and 3,600. This is the amount of factory cost for the product that is manufactured by both the workers. Question number 12 beta. Exact same question guys, came in the last attempt, May 2025, 7 marks. So pay attention. वही क्वेश्चंस आते बेटा एग्जाम में घुमा फिरा के. They cannot keep asking new questions every attempt. They will add one new sentence in the question maybe. ठीक है, but overall questions would still be the same. Mr. A is working by employing 10 skilled workers. You know what is skilled worker, right guys? He is considering the introduction of some incentive scheme, either Halsey or Rowan, of wage payment for increasing labor productivity to cope with the increased demand for the product by 25%. So demand for the product has increased by 25%. You want the workers to manufacture more, but to ensure that they manufacture more, you should also give them an incentive. He feels that if the proposed incentive scheme could bring about an average 20% increase over the present earnings of the workers, it could act as a sufficient incentive for them to produce more, and is accordingly given this assurance to the workers. So he has given an assurance that their earnings will increase by 20% if they increase the output by 25%. Are we clear? As a result of the assurance, the increase in productivity has been observed as revealed by the following figures. Increase in productivity as revealed. The details given below are after increase in production or before increase in production. So the details here with 1250 is the increased output. It is not the existing output. ये जो 1250 है बेटा, this will be the increased output. बाजू में लिख लेना बेटा, increased output. बाद में लिखना याद से. The hourly rate of wages guaranteed बेटा is 2 rupees. बेटा वो ignore the rates and everything. वो questions 1960s से ऐसे ही चल रहे हैं. ठीक है, that is why. Average time for producing one piece by worker at the previous performance is. This can be considered as time allowed. Earlier, just like the question that we did, but our current output is 6 units per hour, but under incentive, output is increasing to 8 units. वैसे भी बेटा यहाँ पे at present, each worker is taking how many hours? There are 25 days in a month, and the number of working hours per day for each worker are 8. The details are for 1 month. Now, what do you think, guys, would be the existing production? कैसे आया? 1250 into 100 by. Do not ever do that, guys. Not necessary that it should match. Once there was a question in which it said that the output will increase by 40%, but the output did not increase by 40%. Forget that. Not relevant. There's another way of computing. जो तुम लोग करे correct है, answer वही आने वाला है. But there's another way, guys, of computing output. Look at the details. We know how many hours are the workers working for. We know what is the output better, or what is the time that they're taking per unit. $1,000 आया. 25 days in a month, 8 hours per day. How many hours is each worker working for? 200 hours multiplied by 10 workers. How many hours in totality? 2000 hours. In 2000 hours, Asad beta, how many units do you think they will manufacture if each unit is taking 2 hours at present? 1000. That's the existing output. 2000 hours divided by 2 hours per unit at present. They're manufacturing how many units? 1000 units. What do you think are their total existing wages? Each worker is being paid at the rate of 2 rupees per hour. So for 2000 hours beta in the entire month, what will be the earnings of the entire all the workers? 4000 rupees. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? Yes or no, guys? Now under incentive scheme, they're increasing their output to 1250 units. Shlok, can you tell me better? How much will be time allowed? How much will be time taken for computing wages under Halcyon under Rowan scheme? 2 hours is the time allowed per unit, guys. So 2 hours multiplied by 1250 units. Total time allowed will become 2000. Time taken will still remain at 2000 hours only. None of them are working for more number of hours. In the same amount of time, they're increasing output. Earlier also they were working for 2000 hours. Even now they're working for 2000 hours. The only difference is earlier they were manufacturing 1000 units, but now they're manufacturing 1250 units. And why are they manufacturing more? Because we are giving them an incentive. Are we clear about this? You just have to compute wages under Halsey scheme and under Rowan scheme, guys, for an output of 1250 units, and under existing system for an output of 1000 units. And then we can answer those bits. Are we all clear about the question, guys? Yes or no? Chalo, let's start writing, guys. Question number 12. Let's concentrate on the existing system. लिखो लिखो, पूरा पढ़ा चुका हूं. The number of hours work beta will be 25 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 10, and that will be 2000 hours. What is the time taken per unit? Under the existing system, guys, we are taking 2 hours per unit. So what will be the output manufactured? 2000 hours divided by 2 hours, and that will be 1000 units. What is the rate per hour beta that we are offering them? 2 rupees. What will be the total wages that we are giving them? There's no incentive, nothing. 2000 hours multiplied by 2 rupees, 4000 rupees. Question mein they're also asking us to compute direct labor cost per piece, guys. So if they ask us to write labor cost per unit per piece, what will you do? 4000 rupees that we are paying is for how many units? 1000 units. So it is 4 rupees per unit at present, or you can also write 2 hours multiplied by 2 rupees per hour. Are they not taking 2 hours for each unit? And they're getting paid 2 rupees per hour. So that will be 4 rupees per unit. So labor cost per unit will be 4000 rupees divided by how many units? 1000 units. And that will be 4 rupees per unit. समझ में आया ये? धैर्य. Next, guys, under incentive scheme, please understand beta, under incentive, actual hours worked will remain at, it is not changing. Are we clear? But the output beta will become 1250 units. What will be the time allowed? For each unit, guys, time allowed will be the same time that they were taking earlier. So that is 1250 into 2 hours. It will become 2500. What is the rate per hour? Still 2 rupees. Compute total wages under Halsey scheme. Compute total wages beta under Rowan scheme. Only 4500, no? अभी तक नहीं करी. ये कितना बेटा? 4000. So under Halsey, guys, they will get paid 4500 rupees, and under Rowan scheme they will get paid 4800. $4,500 and 4,800. Are we clear, kids? Next, beta, look at the first bit. Calculate effective rate of earnings per hour. How do you compute effective rate of earnings per hour? Effective rate per hour, guys, will be You're getting paid, the company beta is paying them 4,500 rupees for how many hours of work? Actual time taken is 2,000 hours. So that'll become 2.25 per hour. दूसरे वाले केस में बेटा 4,800 rupees for how many hours? 2,000 hours. So how much will that be better? 2.4 per hour. This is the effective rate per hour. Second bit, guys, they're asking us to compute savings in labor cost per piece. To compute savings in labor cost per piece, पहले ये system के नीचे labor cost per unit करो. What will be the labor cost per unit, guys, under Halsey scheme? You're paying them 4,500 for how many units? 1,250 units. कितना हो गया बेटा per piece? 3.6. यहाँ पे you're paying them 4,800 again for 1,250 units. How much is per piece? 3.84. How much was the existing labor cost per piece? ऊपर लिखा है देखो, existing system के नीचे labor cost per piece was 4 rupees. So if the company follows Halsey scheme, what is the savings in labor cost per unit? Savings in labor cost per unit beta would be 0.4. 4 rupees minus 3.6. यहाँ पे बेटा how much will be savings in labor cost per piece? 0.16 per unit. Under the existing system, guys, the saving 0.4. New system they will be saving 0.16. Om, can you answer the last bit? We should implement Halsey scheme. Why beta Halsey scheme? It leads to more savings. Very good, guys. What is the assurance that you've already given to the employees? 20% increase in wages. Requirement क्या बोल रहा है? Should you base it on the basis of savings or based on the assurance given? Existing earnings of the workers are 4,000. To fulfill the assurance, the earnings should at least become 4,800. Which system is resulting in a wage of 4,800? Rowan scheme. Therefore, the company should implement Rowan scheme. Abhi clear? ये हो गया सबका? Is everyone done with this? Write on, beta. What if both the amounts beta were more than 4,800? Whichever is less. If both of them are more than 4,800, you select the scheme that results in a lower payment. Are we clear about this? Yes or no, kids? एक सेकेंड सुन लो बेटा. For labor efficiency. In terms of labor efficiency, guys, let's say that a particular task was supposed to be completed in 8 hours. And a worker takes 6 hours to complete the task. There's another worker who takes 10 hours to complete the task. Amit, if the worker is taking 6 hours to complete the task that was supposed to be done in 8 hours, what would be the efficiency? More than 100% or less than 100%? Why more than 100%? Very good. Efficiency, guys, will be more than 100% as time taken is less than time allowed. Here, beta, you will say that the efficiency is less than 100% as the time that we are taking is more than time allowed. So whenever we are computing efficiency ratio in terms of time, guys, if I want to express this as a percentage, should I write the first case as 6 divided by 8 or should I write it as 8 divided by 6? You cannot write it as 6 divided by 8. So the answer beta should be 8 divided by 6. Second case mein beta, should I write 10 divided by 8 or 8 divided by 10? Because we want the answer to be more than 100%, you're going to write that as 8 by 6. Second case mein you want the answer to be less than 100%. It would be 8 divided by 10. This 8 by 6 beta will become 133.33% and this will become 80%. The formula for labor efficiency, guys, or productivity in terms of time will be standard time divided by actual time. Doesn't matter whether you're taking less time, more time. In order to compute efficiency in terms of time, you're always supposed to write standard time divided by actual time. समझ में आ रहा है? Or we can also compute it, guys, in terms of output. Is everyone clear about this? In terms of output, let's say, guys, that the time that every worker is working for is 100 hours. Actual time taken beta is 100 hours. Time allowed per unit is 10 hours. So if they are working for 100 hours, guys, what should have been the output that they should have manufactured? इसको हम लोग बोलते हैं standard output. This is not actual output. They should have manufactured 10 units. Let's say that there is a worker, guys, who has manufactured 12 units. Did he work more or less? Should the efficiency beta be more than 100% or less than 100%? In the first case, beta, efficiency should be more than 100%. Why? Because actual output is more than standard output. In the second case, such beta, efficiency should be less than 100%. If you were to frame it beta formula mein, what will be the answer? You're going to write beta 12 units divided by 10 units, 120%, which is actual output divided by standard output. Here you will write 8 by 10, 80%, which is also actual output divided by standard output. In terms of output, the formula for efficiency ratio is actual by standard. In terms of input, it is standard by हर जगह वही रहेगा. We do not need formulas in terms of output as of now. But हाँ, ये समझ में आया सबको? Are we clear about this, guys? Same thing, beta, you can also do it in terms of time. अब जैसे someone has manufactured 12 units. What should have been the time allowed for 12 units? For each unit, time allowed is 10 hours, beta. So for 12 units, what should be the time allowed? 120 hours. What is the time taken? In terms of time, I just told you that the formula is standard time divided by actual time. 120 upon 100. What is the answer? Doesn't matter whether you're doing it in terms of output or whether in terms of input. The answer is going to remain same. Next, 8 units, guys. What should have been the standard time? 80 hours. What is the actual time taken? Again, if you were to measure efficiency in terms of this input, you're going to write 80 divided by 100, and that will be equal to, so whether it is in terms of output or whether it is in terms of input, guys, you're going to get the same efficiency ratio. Are we all clear about this? Siding with the efficiency ratio. Efficiency ratio. Let's directly start with example. Time allowed per unit. Time allowed per unit, 10 hours. Time taken, 100 hours. 100 hours. उसके नीचे first case. Actual output, 12 units. Time allowed for actual output, 12 units multiplied by 10 hours, 120 hours. Standard output in 100 hours would be 100 hours divided by 10 hours per unit, and that will be 10 units. Actual output is 12 units. Time allowed for actual output 120 hours. So as the production is more better, efficiency should be greater than 100%. Efficiency should be greater than 100%. So in terms of time, what will I write? In terms of time, Remember, the objective is to get more than 100% answer. So I'll become standard time divided by actual time. 120 hours divided by 100 hours. 120%. And in terms of output, actual output divided by standard output. Actual output is 12 units. Standard output beta is 10 units. 120%. Actual output is 8 units. If actual output is 8 units, beta, what will be the time allowed for actual output? Time allowed for actual output will be 8 units multiplied by 10 hours. And that will be 80 hours. Actual time, sorry, standard output beta in actual time would be same. Kitna? Standard output in actual time of 100 hours beta would be 10 units. Efficiency beta should be less than 100%. Efficiency should be less than 100%. So in terms of time, again, you're going to write standard time divided by actual time. That will be 80 upon 100, 80%. And in terms of output, guys, you're going to write actual output divided by standard output, and that would be 8 units divided by 10 units with 80%. In terms of time or in terms of output, the efficiency ratio, guys, would be 80%. To solve the next question, guys, we need to know a small term called as profit volume ratio. We will be learning about this in detail when I do marginal costing. Abhi ke liye, guys. Is everyone done with this computation? Profit volume ratio is not profit divided by volume. So marginal costing works on the concept of variable cost and fixed cost. Unlike normal valuation beta, which works on the concept of dividing total expenses into manufacturing and other expenses, marginal costing divides your total expenses into variable and fixed. From your sales, if you deduct variable cost, there's a term which is called as contribution. Normally you have learned sales minus COGS is gross profit. This COGS will include both variable and fixed manufacturing expenditure. वो variable रहने दो, fixed रहने दो, कोई परवाह नहीं है बेटा. यहाँ पे marginal costing में instead of writing sales minus COGS, we write sales minus variable cost. From that contribution, if you deduct fixed cost, you arrive at profit. ठीक है? Sales minus variable cost is contribution. Contribution minus the amount of fixed cost is. If my selling price per unit is say 150, variable cost per unit is, let's say, 60 rupees. My contribution, guys, per unit would be 90. 150 minus 60, the amount of contribution per unit would be 90 rupees. If I sell 1000 units, my total contribution would be 90 into 1000. And the guys, if I sell 1500 units, my contribution would be 1,35,000. And if I sell 2000 units, my contribution will be 1 lakh. Let's say that the organization is incurring a fixed cost of 75,000. Doesn't matter what is the volume level, guys, your fixed cost is not going to change. My profit beta is how much? 15,000. 60,000. 1,05,000. अब ये सब क्यों पढ़ रहे हैं? Marginal costing is primarily used for the purpose of decision making. In case my volume increases by 1 unit, my profits will increase by 90 rupees in the given case. If my volume increases by 2 units, my profits will increase 2 multiplied by 90, 180 rupees. My revenue will increase, but I will still have to incur variable cost. The whole definition of variable cost beta is anything that depends directly on the output level. So if you are, जैसे यहाँ पे बेटा, if you see here, from 1000 units to 1500 units, what is your change in contribution? 45,000. What is the change in profit? So if your volume is increasing from 1000 units to 1500 units, your contribution is increasing by 45,000. Your profits are also increasing by, this is constant guys, fixed cost. If your contribution increases by 1 rupee, your profits increase by 1 rupee. If your contribution increases by 2 rupees, your profits will increase by 2 rupees. सीधा बैठ के सुनो बे. Are you understanding this? So marginal costing says, do not take decision on the basis of total cost and selling price. Take decisions on the basis of variable cost and selling price. As long as you are making some contribution, your profits only will keep increasing. ऐसा सोचो बेटा, marginal cost, marginal revenue that you learn in economics. As long as marginal revenue is more than marginal cost, there's some positive contribution. Your profits will keep increasing. Are we clear? If selling price does not recover your variable cost, then there's no point in selling. Is that clear? हाँ या ना guys? Now, PV ratio is the proportion of contribution in the revenue of the firm. What proportion of your selling price represents contribution? In our example, it is 90 upon 150, 60%. 60% of the revenue that I'm getting will be my contribution. Basically, if I increase my revenue by 100 rupees, I will also have to incur a variable cost of 40 rupees, but my contribution will only be 60 rupees. PV ratio is what beta? The proportion of contribution in sales, also known as contribution sales ratio, but they do not use the word contribution sales anywhere. They use the word PV ratio only. So if I tell you guys that, let's say Dhairya was working in an organization as such, beta, because of his mistake, the company lost a revenue of 1 crore rupees. If you would want to know what is the impact on profit because of this Mahan person as such, beta, you should know PV ratio, you should know the loss of revenue. If the PV ratio of that company is 60%, losing out on a revenue of 1 crore would mean losing out on a profit of 60 lakhs. They have missed out on a contribution of 60 lakhs. Because they have missed out on a contribution of 60 lakhs, their profits will reduce by 60 lakhs. समझ में आ रहा है क्या बोल रहा हूँ? Now, if the PV ratio was 45% and they are able to increase their revenue by 3 crores, how much will their profits increase by? 3 crores multiplied by 45%, 1 crore 35 lakhs. ठीक है? Where are we going to use that in this chapter? There's something called as labor turnover. Normal भाषा में labor attrition. Employees might keep joining, might keep leaving the organization. Every time an employee leaves the organization, the replacement of that employee might take certain time to get used to the newer methods. Every organization might not have the same method of working. जो भी नया बंदा join करता है, his efficiency will not be the same as the old employee. Efficiency initially might be lower as such, but gradually the efficiency will increase. But because of that, can a company lose out on revenue? Yes. Because of labor turnover, the company can lose out on revenue. What if there is delay in filling vacancies? They did not find the right employee on time as such, but they had to hire an employee 2 months later, 3 months later. Can the company, forego revenue because of that? If there's no production, obviously the sales will be lower. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? जैसे टाटा इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स का the other day article came that the company would want to hire about 15,000 people in their electronics plant in Tamil Nadu, the one that makes iPhones, assembles iPhones in India. Problem is they are not finding skilled workers. Hire तो करना है, but they do not have the right kind of workforce available to hire. So such delays in filling the roles as Saath Beta would obviously have an impact on their revenues. They can scale up their operations, increase the total output, but because they're not able to increase the workforce, they're not able to increase their output levels. They will ask us to determine what is the impact of labor turnover on profitability of the organization. So we will have to see on account of labor turnover, how much did we meditate? Then on account of labor turnover as Saath Beta, was there a connection made or not with God? समझ में आ रहा है क्या बोल रहा हूँ guys? Yes or no beta? People are wondering whom am I talking about? एक दिन, 2 दिन, 3 दिन, 15 दिन हो गए बेटा. अगर अभी भी ऐसी हालत है ना, question what are we doing? Why are we doing it? ठीक है, SM की भाषा में इसको बोलते हैं BPR, business process re-engineering. You should question yourself. There has to be a radical change that should be brought. Why are we doing it? Who are we doing it for? Now back guys, so if they tell us that on account of labor turnover we lost out on a turnover of 1 crore rupees and the profit volume ratio is 40%, what will be the loss of profit? Just remember, loss of contribution itself is loss of profit. So 40% of 1 crore guys, 40 lakhs will be the loss of profit plus other expenses. Labor turnover guys is not just about loss of output also. Whenever you want to hire an employee as such guys, there will be expenditure. You will have recruitment agencies guys to whom commissions will be payable so that they get a proper fit. Usually payments to these organizations about 1 month salary. So you pay. अब कल ही कोई बात कर रहा था that if an organization senior manager gets paid about 60 lakhs, like senior manager की post अगर vacant हुई, सबके सब try to refer because they get a commission of only 5 lakhs. In case their referral as Saath Beta gets the job, the commission that they get is only about 5 lakh rupees, nothing more. So here they have to incur that guys. Plus HR department कभी तो काम करेगा ना. So that recruitment cost, training cost, all of those guys will be the impact on profitability. Are we clear about this? Any doubt in this? समझ में आ गया? 15th question guys. बात कर जल्दी. So guys, 50,000 hours is the training period. All of you stop writing guys, pay attention. Out of this beta productivity is only 60%. That means productive hours beta would be 30,000 hours. What will be the unproductive hours? Unproductive hours beta are 20,000. Output lost beta here would be 20,000 hours divided by 10 hours per unit, and that beta would be 2,000. We've lost on an output of 2,000 units due to training, and यहाँ पे beta output manufactured would be 30,000 hours divided by 10 hours, that will be 3,000. ये 3,000 में भी beta the question says defectives are 20%. Which is 600 units. Are we understanding this, guys? During training, we lost 2000 units and another 600 were defectives. Second point, what it says. Third point, delay in recruitment ke वजह guys. What are the number of hours lost? Due to delay in recruitment, hours lost beta is 1 lakh. Loss of output beta here would be smart, guys. 1 lakh divided by 10, that is 10,000 units. The question tells us beta what is the amount of contribution per unit. Kitna contribution per unit? 180 rupees into 20%. 36. You can write revenue, guys, and then multiply number of units with contribution per unit. एक ही बात है. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? Now, loss of contribution, guys. Totally, what was the amount of output lost? 12,000 units. What 12,000 units into 36 beta? 4 lakh 32,000. Then beta expenditure on defectives. Did we incur expenditure on defectives? 600 units at the rate of 25 rupees, and that will be 15,000. And then, guys, expenses due to labor turnover. What are those expenses, guys? All those expenses put together. 4 lakh 15,000. 53,000. The total loss of profit, guys, would be 9 lakhs. Whoever is getting 8 lakh 13,000 beta, you did not take those 2,000 units lost due to labor training. Plus, we did not consider expenditure on defectives. Did we not incur that 25 rupees per unit? That 25 will be an additional expenditure beta. That 25 multiplied by 600 units. समझ में आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है? You can copy, guys. Online students, end of the session. See you guys after the break. Bye bye.